speakers, and we'll go into the meat of the program as to why you're all really here, to hear about these opportunities in China. So we're going to hear about the requirements of 2 Chinese corporates, and also a case study about a successful company that is from our Cleantech network and that has been in and operated successfully in China already. So just to begin with a little bit of housekeeping for everybody, please, if you could remain muted during the course of the event this morning. If you do have a question, we're very keen to hear from you, of course. Please do type it up in the chat box, which is in the center of your console on the strip at the base of the screen. What I'll do is I'll interject with the speaker and ask them the question that you've raised, if appropriate, or if not, we can leave it until the end where we have a Q&A panel with all of the speakers together as well. Please do also note that we're recording this session, and it will be available after the event on our website. And we have some of the Cambridge Cleantech team on the call as well to help us with things hopefully progressing in a good, orderly manner. That includes Oriane, who's just let you in, and Cynthia, Sylvie, Camilla as well. So just a few points there on housekeeping, but moving on, before I introduce the first speaker, what have we been doing at Cambridge Cleantech in these somewhat challenging and unusual times, which seem to have extended throughout the year this year? Well, we listen closely to our members, and what they tell us is that, first of all, they're very interested in access to finance. Can we provide them with funding opportunities? And just an example in regard to this is that we're organising a Cleantech Venture Week at the end of November, the last week in November. This picks up on the successful Cleantech Venture Days and we've held for the last 10 years in London and in the Nordics. And that's looking at a range of topics. We've had 120 applications to pitch, and the judges are whittling those down out of the 24 most investment-ready companies that will pitch to rooms full of investors over the 3 days of the event. So if you're interested in that, please do look at our website and get yourself signed up. There's plenty of opportunity, even if you've missed the application date. For pitching yourself, you can meet with others, and there are chat rooms and booths and so on available for you to meet with the investors. So watch this space for that one on opportunities for investment into your company. The second area that our members tell us is important are contract opportunities. And of course, I need to go no further than what we're doing today. You're going to hear very shortly from or about 2 Chinese corporates that are specifically looking for technological solutions from UK suppliers. So we'll hear more about that in a minute. And in fact, just earlier in the week on Tuesday, we had a similar event with about 3 or 4 Polish corporates that again were looking for sustainable solutions as Poland transforms from a coal-based economy into a more carbon neutral economy like the rest of Europe. And I'll just mention one last thing. Only on Friday, just at the end of last week, we received information from our partners in Rotterdam that we'll be posting shortly, and we will share this with you, 2 challenges, one from Delft in the Netherlands and another one from Espoo in Finland, the second city of Finland, just close to Helsinki. And both of those cities have smart districts, and they're looking at how they can aid the energy transition to a more cleaner and greener future. So the smart city solutions in energy, if you're in that area, if you think you can offer solutions, again, get yourself in front of those entities. In this case, it's municipalities that are looking for solutions. So basically contract opportunities, be it from Poland, be it from China, be it from the Netherlands and elsewhere in Europe, in this case, Finland. So good opportunities all round, and keep an eye on the events page of the Cambridge Cleantech calendar to see what is available in terms of those upcoming opportunities. So let's move on. That's enough about Cambridge Cleantech and what we're doing. Let's hear now about the opportunities in China. Now, can I just check with Oriane, has Simon from DIT managed to join us?
No, not yet. Cynthia is giving him a call right now.
Okay, thank you for that. So without further ado then, what we're going to do, hopefully Simon from the Department for International Trade will join us later and give us some information about the soft landing services that they can provide to assist your market entry into China. But first of all, I'm going to welcome Gareth Roberts from Cambond, who's going to talk us through his experience. He's been there, he's got the t-shirts, he's got the scars to prove about his time in China. Gareth, over to you for a case study on what you've been doing. I think you might need to unmute, Gareth.
Hi, good morning, everybody, and apologies to the movie title, but I thought I would try and give it a more positive spin and start with the worst and end up with the best in terms of our experiences. So if we start with just the background technology. So we're a biological materials company. So we've invented a plant-based glue that you can mix them with a range of other things and actually make a range of biocomposites that are clean, green, and more importantly, cost effective. Why we're interested in China, they're the world's biggest manufacturer. So, you know, in effect, they're the world's factory and supplier. And so if you're going to make any progress in terms of new materials, it's an obvious place to start. But it's not without its problems. So our first experience that I'll call the ugly, 2006 to 9, is with a company, Novathera, a stem cell company, where we were looking at manufacturing medical devices. And a key player potentially were some companies in China who had the necessary expertise. So we set up contacts. We spent a lot of time and a lot of money. And in fact, it was an investment that we may as well burn the cash because it produced no viable result at all. And the reasons for this were reasonably straightforward. Really, it's poor management and it's naivety in terms of thinking that you can just turn up in a foreign country with limited experience in the language and the culture and expect it all to work for you. We had no problems in terms of transferring cash. Great difficulty when it came to talking to the engineers and being specific about what exactly it was that we wanted, because although email English seems to work fine, you know, it still leaves a lot to be desired. And the net result was having a whole series of prototypes that leaked, that didn't work and didn't meet the standards. So that was just not a great experience at all. But we're in a new business now, and we decided to further Cambond strategy. It makes sense for us to work with existing manufacturers. And again, we come back to China as being, you know, the factory to the world. We then have one is Cantian and the other is Tanzhou. And one is going great and the other is having issues. So this will freeze for a bit because I've just touched something. So the Banish, if you look on the left, our CEO is Chinese, had the relevant connections, could speak the language, so went to China, and actually we were greatly helped by regional government in setting up a plant in Jintan, just outside of Changzhou. That all worked wonderfully well for about 2 years, until one day we had a knock on the door, and the regional government plus some party members turned up and said they were redeveloping the area, and we had 2 months to leave the site. That caused us a lot of grief, as you can imagine, but we just moved over region and then developed another site for manufacturing, and that's still up and running and going, although it did get clobbered by COVID. So, you know, there's a few issues there. The importance in terms of why we're there, and working with local businesses is because we're looking to just introduce a new material into an existing manufacturing process, because this makes life much simpler, much faster. And we're also interested in using waste materials, recycled plastics or agricultural byproducts to replace virgin materials in making existing products. So in terms of Jiangsu, this was an existing plastics manufacturer that we started developing a relationship. They were using, we were using them to make samples, because we realize if you're in manufacturing and you can't show somebody a 3D real object, then nobody believes your capabilities or what you can do. So that was great. We managed to get a whole pile of samples done very quickly. The company then became very interested in the potential for the technology, in that they were looking for a greener alternative to plastic, trying to read, you know, where the future could go. So they liked the technology well enough. We then set up a joint venture with them. The advantage to us is that they have huge expertise in manufacturing, molding, mold engineering and plastics, that then carries over into a big number of other projects that we're currently involved in. So we're now effectively re-importing some of that technology to set up manufacturing development projects within the UK. So I'll just end then in 2 points about culture. And the first is this concept of guanxi, which is the social networks people have. Now, we have similar things in Europe, but they don't operate on the same scale. And it's very much before you're going to work with somebody, somebody wants to meet you. So physically being there is important. You know, Zoom, Teamworks or WeChat are not going to cut it, in my opinion. And that you have to develop that relationship before then people feel comfortable to build a business with you. That's great. You can get introductions once you're in the network and you become trusted, and you can build your own network with the companies that other companies know. It's personal and it's not transferable. So it's based on you, not your company. Okay, so if you go, then it could mean there's a problem for your company. It also has grey areas, in particular for people who are hot on governance in Europe or the United States, because the network of relationships extends to, you know, working with families, family-owned other companies and such, and you sometimes need to be a bit careful about being sure exactly what it is that you're getting into. The other is a new development that we are beginning to get involved with, which is the social credit system. This is a rolling program that's meant to be finalized, at least in the first stage, by the end of this year. And I think this is very important. It's going to have a huge impact on business, because whereas you're used to just a credit scoring system, and that maybe or maybe not you can get a loan and what the interest rate is, this extends that concept into every aspect of people's lives. If you make bad business decisions, or you fail to fulfill various regulations, it can affect your social credit score, and that can impact on things like your ability to travel, or your ability to get, you know, first class plane tickets or stay in a good hotel. It potentially has a huge impact. And the thing that I think certainly I didn't realize until recently is part of that system is that you may be responsible for your business partner's social credit score as well, in that if they score badly, it reflects badly on you. And so this is a new complex area that I think people need to think about, and certainly, guidance is required. So in summary, it's a great place to do things, particularly if you want to make things and you want to do things in a hurry. It's not without its risks, and it's certainly not the kind of thing you should do, in my opinion, without good advice and somebody who can help you make a sensible soft landing in the country. Thanks.
Gareth, thank you very much for that. A real sort of warts and all insightful overview on how to gain entry into the Chinese market. I mean, those points you made at the end in particular on the sort of social systems and this new sort of scoring system in particular, quite incredible, really. So, yeah, in some ways not an easy market, but the opportunity, the gold, the pot at the end of the rainbow is actually tremendous as well. So thank you very much for that personal insight, really, really helpful. Right, now I understand that we have Simon Crosland from DIT East, who's the, excuse me, the sectors manager. I believe that you've been able to join us, Simon, on your mobile, and that you'll be able to do your presentation, and that Oriane will turn the slides over for you. So you're going to be able to tell us, I hope, that what you'll be providing is a service which will ensure more of the good and less of the bad and the ugly, to go back to Gareth's presentation. So Simon, can you just confirm that you're there with us and that you can go ahead with your presentation now? Thank you. Hello, Simon. Have you unmuted yourself? Simon, last chance. No? Okay, I'll tell you what we'll do then. Without further ado, we'll go straight on to ask Sam Goodall to present, and he's going to provide an overview of the 2 Chinese corporates that have put together their innovation shopping list and are effectively seeking solutions from suppliers across the Cambridge Cleantech network and beyond. The 2 companies are the Jiangsu Huada chemical company and also the Ktk Group. So let's go over to Sam to take us through their requirements, and then we'll see if Simon's available at the end. Maybe Cynthia, you can do a bit more digging to see if we can get Simon back. Sam, over to you.
Hi, everybody. Thank you, Martin. So quick introduction. I'm International Program Manager for Cambridge Cleantech. And this opportunity is being run through a program that we've been part of now for about 4 years, Interreg Scale-Up program. Essentially, that's where we introduce kind of corporate innovation needs into our network, into SMEs that have potential technology solutions for those corporates. It's been a very successful program. We've had over 50 major European and multinational corporates involved, as well as hundreds of SMEs, and there have been many collaborations that have emerged worth kind of several million in terms of those kind of contract values to the participants and so on and so forth. Today is part of extending that into the kind of showing that it has global reach, and hence the opportunities that are also emerging from the Chinese market. Okay, so as Martin has mentioned, there's 2 companies that we're working with specifically on the opportunities that we're going to present today, plus also a bit more information about Cambridge Tech Valley, who've helped us to set this up and are potentially able to offer some of those soft landing services and kind of introductory kind of cultural exchange services that Gareth has highlighted as being so important. So first is Jiangsu Huada Chemical Group, and second is the Ktk Group. Okay, firstly, a little bit about Cambridge Tech Valley. So based in Cambridge, Shanghai Tech Valley and Shanghai Tech Valley, they provide that bridging service from the Europe and from the UK into China. Yanray's been based in the UK for over 20 years and obviously understands both markets very well, provides that ability to operate, navigate the challenges, the pitfalls, and the opportunities that China presents as a market. So particularly able to give you exposure to innovation, to investors in China, and particularly able then to create those initial meetings and then go through the process of developing those into full-blown relationships. So if you want to know any more, then please do get in contact with us directly through Cambridge Cleantech or directly with Yanray, whose details will be provided. Okay, so Jiangsu Chemical Group, located in Binjiang Industry Park, high-tech enterprise in the province that manufactures and distributes chemical products. They've got a number of innovation needs. I won't pretend I understand all of these. For example, not 100% sure what naphthalene series intermediates, rubber additives and other fine chemicals are, but I'm trusting that you guys, if you have technology in this space, will understand it. The next slide also explains those a little bit more in more kind of user-friendly terms. So what they're looking for is a range of possible technologies. So new carbon materials, high performance resins, anode and cathode materials for lithium batteries, semiconductor chemicals, rubber anti-aging, PEKK materials, microreactors, efficient clean catalytic technology development. If you have technology in any of those areas, then we're able to kind of develop that discussion, initiate the conversation, to really help to understand if that's something, you have something that they're interested in and they can see a pathway forward. Okay, Ktk Group, also China-based, and they work in the railway transportation system and produce interiors and the electrical control systems for high-speed trains and other urban transport systems. They have a more open challenge that they're looking to develop, and it's around air purification technology. So really, if you have anything in that space, they're interested to initiate that conversation. So it could be something that's directly involved in air purification, or it could be the technologies that are involved within a machine or that are peripheral to that technology. So if you think you've got something, we'd encourage you to get in touch, and don't worry too much if you're not sure if it's an exact fit. That's part of the process. That's part of how Yanray and Tech Valley are able to kind of add value to the process. Okay, there's a specific timeline around these opportunities. So we're welcoming applications until the 23rd of October, and this will lead to one-to-one meetings with selected companies throughout November. To apply, contact my colleague Camilla, whose email is on screen. And as said, it's not a huge barrier to entry. At the moment, we're really just finding those potential technologies. So we just need 150 words of what your product or service is and how it meets the buyer's needs, plus a link to a website and your contact details. We'll then do the rest in terms of filtering, making sure that's a good fit. And if it's a good fit, we'll move through to the one-to-one meeting and next stage of the process. As mentioned at the beginning, this is part of our scale-up program. We work with a number of other partners such as ourselves across Europe, and many other opportunities coming forward. I think Martin mentioned at the start that Rotterdam have just also published some new innovation challenges. So please do keep watching this space in terms of further things coming through from Cambridge Cleantech, as well as showing interest in the China opportunities that we've presented today. Thank you very much.
Sam, thank you very much for that overview. Very clear and lucid articulation of the needs of those two Chinese corporates. A very good example of the sort of work that we do week in, week out. We had, as I said earlier, a very similar meeting on Tuesday this week, 4 Polish corporates, and we went through in a very similar way. This is what the corporates are looking for. If you think you have products or services that provide the solutions, fill in the application form. It's only a side of A4. And do come back to us, and we'll take that forward and hopefully get you a meeting with that relevant corporate. Okay, so let's keep on moving. Let's ask Yanray, who's from Cambridge Tech Valley, to say a few words about your support services, because I think it's fair to say, Yanray, that in this particular case with those two Chinese corporates, they were contacts that you had in China. We heard from Gareth earlier about the all importance of the networks, social and business networks in China. You had these connections with those two companies, and you brought them to the table and said, these two corporates are interested in this range of technologies. What have you got for us in terms of providing solutions? So Yanray, I think it's only fair in light of that that you tell us a little bit about the background to this piece of work and also your support services more generally at Cambridge Tech Valley. Yanray, over to you.
Thanks, Martin. Hi, everybody. I'm Yanray from Cambridge Tech Valley. Well, I set up this business based on my international trading in 10 years experience, international trading, import and export experience. So, how we work? We work with the Chinese local government and the organizations to encourage Chinese businesses to come to us, express what they are looking for, what technology they need, how do they want to improve their products with more advanced technologies from Europe. So this, we provide some online information which you can find on my website, techvalley.co.uk, and we also carry on some hands-off hands-on service, which is offline service to both side businesses, which, for example, like a soft landing package to China and contract opportunities. So that's what we're trying to connect with both the UK and the China businesses. Like today, we have some Chinese local organizations joined with us. There's the Jiangsu Industry Park for environmental science and technology, and there's the Wujing Green Building Zone, also Changzhou Science and Technology Department, and the Shanghai Baidu Innovation Center. They are all part of organizations we are working with. And through those organizations, and they are government leads to work on projects. So I do also encourage UK businesses to come to us if you have your innovation and your product needed to be developed further. You need to find the investors and the manufacturers to take this forward. Then that's what we are here for.
Okay, Yanray, thank you very much indeed for that overview and summary of the support services that you provide from Cambridge Tech Valley. I can also personally vouch for Yanray in that I can say that she organizes a first-rate mission to China. I've accompanied you on a couple of visits to Wujin, which is about an hour north of Shanghai, and also to Shanghai itself. And I must say that the organization is absolutely first class, and the companies you get to meet, or the local authorities and the one-to-one meetings all work like clockwork. So I can certainly vouch for your local contacts and your expertise and organizational skills. So thank you very much for that overview. Right, now I do believe we've not only got Simon on the phone, but he's unmuted and can also speak to us as well. So Simon, just to update you, we've had a terrific presentation from Gareth Roberts from Cambond, who gave us a sort of a warts and all overview of what it's like going into China as an SME and seeking contracts and working over there. And we've also heard from Sam Goodall from the Cambridge Cleantech team, who's given a very clear overview of the needs of the two Chinese corporates for this particular call. And then finally, just Yanray has given a summary of her own soft landing services that she can provide. So I think over to you, Simon at DIT East, to give us some information about the support that you can provide for market entry into China, both from DIT East locally, and maybe a little bit about what in-country support might be available as well. Simon, I hope you can come on now.
Well, Martin, thank you. I hope you can hear me now. Can you confirm that?
We can indeed. It's lovely to hear your dulcet tones. Please continue.
Dulcet. Thank you very much for everyone's patience. And I did catch some snatches of Gareth's presentation, which sounded very informative. And in particular, I heard him say that we shouldn't be in China. You can't rely on Zoom, Teams, or any other virtual connectivity. And I can certainly this morning testify to that fact. Anyway, moving swiftly on. So I'll tell you a little bit about DIT, Department of International Trade support that's available, importantly, here in the UK. And I'll move on and then say something about how we're set up and the operations that we have and the support available in China itself. I won't, as is I think quite often the case from DIT presentations, say anything about the Chinese economy and its structure and operation. I think you can Google a lot of that information perfectly well. Other than I will observe that in the 12 months ending June, exports to China from the UK of goods and services were up 13% on the previous year. So as is probably commonly viewed, China, second biggest economy in the world, continues to be an increasingly attractive source of export success for UK companies. So next slide, please. What's the purpose of DIT? Fundamentally, we do exist to help UK companies to export goods and services to pretty much any country around the world. We also support efforts for British companies where appropriate to make foreign direct investment, to set up subsidiaries or joint ventures in overseas territories. So I think most of our regional work in the UK is helping the export of goods and services, but we certainly have colleagues who look at foreign direct investment as well. I'll just say some things about how it's set up how we are set up in the UK. I'd like to think that some of the people on this meeting will already have regular contacts with DIT, but for those who don't, in England, we operate on a 9 regional basis of the UK. So I'm speaking to you on behalf of the East of England team for DIT. The service is and has been for a couple of decades contracted out to specialist delivery partners. So I actually work for a subsidiary of the University of Hertfordshire. And in each region, there are teams of international trade advisors, some of whom are specialists, some of whom are generalists, and we also put on events and crucially participate with or have our key partnerships as we do with Cambridge Cleantech. So I'm delighted to support this event today. It's not the first time, as Martin will say, we've worked with Cambridge Cleantech over a number of years, and hopefully we'll continue to do so for many years to come. So then this is typical of how we like to work with key partners to deliver support to clients. The sector specialists, so typically in each region has some of those. So in the East of England, as an example, I personally run several sector-specific task forces, each of which has a small number of trade advisors who focus on one or perhaps two sectors. And in particular, we have a technology and innovation task force, which is, I think, crucially relevant to a lot of what you're interested in and delivering. Can we go to the next slide, please? Moving into China, a relatively new innovation, I think, in the last couple of years has been the creation of 9 new posts around the world, Her Majesty's Trade Commissioners. So these are senior level diplomatic appointments, effectively. And the Her Majesty's Trade Commissioner for China is a gentleman called John Edwards. I've provided his email address there. I'm not, just bear in mind, John's a senior guy. He's very much at the, high level government relationship level, but you never know if he might be useful. And he also works closely with the kind of nuts and bolts people that we have on the ground in China. So next slide, please. Very relevantly for what I think people on this call are interested in, we have spread across 5 principal locations, more than 200 staff focused on DIT activities in China. And these teams of people are there to provide insight and information on the market conditions in China, advice on regulatory affairs or intellectual property. When I say intellectual property, I can assure you our default position would normally be to recommend to get specialist advice on from an IP attorney. But there may be advice available on particular partners or distributors that you are considering joining forces with. So if we move on to the next slide, please. Very specifically for the sector that we're talking about today, there is within that 200, there's about 20 people focused on innovation and industry. The senior guy in that team is Tony Clemson, giving you his email address there. Another useful guy might be Jonathan Dove. Then, as you can guess, the 2 gentlemen are British expatriate staff based out in China. The bulk of the 20, the bulk of the 200, in fact, but the bulk of the 20 on innovation industry will be locally hired Chinese staff. So we're not just shipping a load of Brits out there to offer advice. We tap very much into local knowledge and expertise. Moving on to the next slide, please. And the crucial also in the support we would offer in China is not just to limit it to the knowledge and competence we have in-house, but we also reach out to other organizations, principally China British Business Council, with whom we've had a close working relationship for I think a couple of decades now in China. And they themselves have got vast knowledge and experience, again, thick end of 150 people on the ground in China. I think they have more offices than we do as well in the country. So again, we will often call those guys in or signpost clients out to China British Business Council where appropriate. Then wrapping up, coming back back to home base, as it were. Another valuable organisation is a sister team to DIT, and that's UK Export Finance, so British government backed and driven entirely. Kind of does what it says on the tin. It's got a portfolio of financial products and services that it can work with your bank and as well as with you to put packages of support in place where appropriate for the export of goods to overseas markets. It's obviously a complicated area. It's a simple recommendation that they're a team of specialists, but if you haven't got an appointed international trade advisor that I referenced at the beginning of this presentation, please get yourself one. Use that email on the second slide that I provided. And your trade advisor will, as well as offering the general and sector-specific advice, will bring in UK Export Finance for a conversation with you wherever that is appropriate. So, final slide, please. And I'd just like to thank you very much for listening. And as I say, do use our services. Start with us in the UK. The local advisor you get here will get you through to relevant people in China, or to UK Export Finance, or to other sources of information and advice. Thank you very much for listening. I look forward to working with you on developing business in China. Thanks, Martin.
Simon, thank you very much indeed. A very clear overview of the extensive range of support available from the Department for International Trade, both from within the UK and then also when you're in country. And I was just thinking, if you are an attendee at this event this morning and you're looking to develop opportunities in China for your business, if you were to spend 30 minutes of a cup of coffee with a peer such as Gareth, who's been out there to China, done it and got the t-shirt, or 30 minutes with Yanray over a coffee, hear about her local experience and expertise, her connectivity within China, or Simon and or one of his team, be they in the UK or China, with that range of expertise in those different localities, or one of the Cambridge Cleantech team, Sam, who went through all the detail of the particular requirements for those two corporates. I mean, you can't really buy it, can you? A cup of coffee, 30 minutes with any one of those four would tell you so much information that might take you hours, if not days, to retrieve or try to secure otherwise. So thank you very much to all of the speakers from that perspective. Right, so let's go on to